Welcome back, and I have some exciting news today. I have 1,000 subscribers, and I want to thank everybody that subscribes. And if you don't subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. It would be awesome to have you come and enjoy all these wonderful videos, and they're a lot of fun to make also. So today I'm going to make Fireball Whiskey Apple Cobbler. So let's get started. And I have this bowl of apples, and I'm hoping that that's enough. I might have some extra, then I'll probably be snacking as I'm cooking. Okay, so I'm just going to rinse off these apples because I am going to leave the skin on the apples because it gives it a nice texture. So I'm going to wash these all up and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to start cutting up the apples. So this is a 4-cup measure, and to do this cobbler, I like to have it 4 heaping cups, so it's going to be about this much over the top. So I'm just going to stick this aside, and I'm going to start cutting up my apples. And I'm going to also mention that I'm going to put this in a 10 by 15 casserole dish. All right, so first thing we're going to do is cut this in half. And then, of course, if you see an imperfection on your apple, you'll want to cut it off. And then I'm going to take the stem off, and I'm going to core it. And I have a sharp knife and a cutting board. You do not want to do this in the air. I've seen people try to cut up apples holding it in the air, and that's a good way to get cut. So you want to be careful. So there's that part out. And then I'm just going to take this much off. Oh, by the way, these are Fuji apples. And they're nice, if you can hear it. I'm talking over it, but they're nice and crisp, which is going to make it nice. So I'm just going to cut up the one apple to show everybody, and then I'll do the rest. So then if you have a little bit of stuff like that in there, I don't know if you can see that, just take it to the sink and rinse it off. Okay, so what you want to do is try to make this as even as you can, so when we cook the apples, it cooks at the same rate of speed. So I'm going to just do this. And I want to mention that one of the reasons I started this channel is I want my granddaughter to have all these videos so she knows how to make all my recipes, because I didn't have my mom's recipes or my grandmother's recipes, and most importantly, my husband's grandmother was a wonderful cook, and so many times we wanted to make something and we didn't have her recipes. We had to almost do it by trial and error to get the taste. So I want my granddaughter to be able to have these recipes, and also friends and family, because they very often ask me, how do you make this? And you know what? To just hand them a recipe is very difficult. You need to actually watch it. And that's another reason for the videos. Instead of just doing like a cookbook or something, watching it is the way to learn how to cook. All right, so I'm just going to continue to go ahead and prepare these apples, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I have my apples. And like I said, I was going to do 4 cups heaping, and I do have 4 apples left over, so that's fine. Okay, so we're going to put this in here, and then I have these two cute little Fireball whiskey that we're going to pour in here. And this has cinnamon in it. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take a spoon and mix things around. You can really smell the cinnamon. Very strong smell. So I'm just going to let this finish mixing it around so that the whiskey gets on all the apples. And then I will set this aside, and we'll start working on some of the other parts of the cobbler, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so the next step is we need butter. All right, real butter. So we need a cup of butter, and so each one of these sticks is a half a cup. So a half a cup and a half a cup. Let's see, where is it there? Is a cup. So I'm going to just put this in a glass container. You don't necessarily need a measuring cup because we already have it pre-measured, but the measuring cup has a handle, so to me that's going to make it easier. And we're going to melt the butter in the microwave oven. Hope everybody's having a good day. All right. So hopefully we don't make a mess. Gotta kind of make sure it's all gonna melt in that cup. Okay, so my butter is melting in the microwave. I'm infusing the whiskey into the apples. I'm gonna stir it around. And by doing this, we will have the maximum flavor, and it smells very good. And it sounds like my butter's ready to check. Okay, so my butter is melted, and I'm just gonna pour this again. This is a 10 by 15. Okay, now, some of this is not 100% melted, which is okay, because I still have to make the topping and cook the apples, and that's fine. So I'm just gonna take the spoon, and it's still really warm, and it's gonna finish melting right here in the glass dish. Now, I would highly recommend using a glass baking dish, because if you use metal and then you put fruit on there, it has like kind of a strange reaction and it will not taste as good. So this will melt. Okay, so I'm going to turn the heat on over here at the range top to like a medium heat. Now the trick is to cook these apples a little bit, but not to overcook them, because they will go in the oven and cook some more. We need to cook them a little bit. So now what I'm going to add to these apples is some more cinnamon, even though that the whiskey has cinnamon in it. If you watch my channel, you know that I love cinnamon, and so does my family. And so if you really want it to taste a lot like cinnamon, you definitely want to add some extra. And then we're going to just put in like a handful of brown sugar. My handful, so I just go like this. And we're going to stir this up. So we're going to keep a close eye on these apples. As I said, we don't want to overcook them. I'm going to mix this up. I'm going to cover it. And we're mixing it on a medium heat so far. If it's cooking too slow or too fast, we will adjust the heat. So you have to kind of use your best judgment on your range top. Okay, so I'm going to mix this up a little bit more, and as you can see, the brown sugar is kind of like turned into the liquid here, and I'm just going ahead and just heating this on the lowest heat. And now I'm going to go and preheat my oven to 375. So now it's time to go ahead and start measuring out our batter for the topping. So we need 2 cups of sugar. And when measuring sugar, you need to level it off, and I'm going to use the back of the knife to go ahead and level this off. So 1, 2. Set this aside, and then I'm going to grab my flour. It's nice to have your flour and sugar in these containers because it makes it a lot easier than fighting the bag the whole time. So when you're measuring flour, you want to level it off as well. One. 2. And now our next ingredient is 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So make sure that you use baking powder and not soda, because it will make a difference. So I have my teaspoon measure here, and I'm going to use my lid to level it off. need 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And so now I'm going to take a fork and I'm just going to kind of mix this around. And now it's time for the liquid ingredient, but first I'm going to go over to the range top and check on my apples. Okay, so they look like they're cooked enough now, because this is a softer apple anyway. And so I'm just going to turn off the heat, and let's just sit here and infuse, and it will be ready to put in the baking dish shortly. So we need 1.5 cups of milk, and I use whole milk. 2% would work also, but it actually tastes a lot better with the whole milk. So when measuring out liquid ingredients, you want to get level with your measuring cup and pour to the proper line. So we need 1.5 cups. Okay. And now I'm going to pour this into here. We're going to mix this around. And then we are going to take it over the mixer. I'm just getting some of the pre-mixing taken care of. That way, when I turn on the mixer, I don't have a whole bunch of flour flying everywhere. So, I'm going to use this beater today. And I'll show you which one you don't want to use for this sort of thing. Okay. You don't want to use a wire whisk because that's for like whipped cream and light sauces and things like that. And then you don't want to use a dough hook because that's like for cookie dough and things like that, and bread dough. All right, get this on here. And I have my rubber spatula. That comes in handy if you're going to be doing a lot of baking. These are nice to have. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's strip down the sides. And if you're wondering why I run the mixer so fast, one of the reasons is to actually get air into the batter to make it fluffier. So that's what that does. When you beat the air into the batter, it makes it fluffier. So I'm just kind of scraping down the sides so nothing sticks. And let's mix it up some more. Okay. Boy, the house smells good. You can really smell that, the apples and that cinnamon fireball, that fireball cinnamon whiskey from across the room. It's smelling very delicious. Okay, so we are done with the batter. Now it's time to add our delicious apples, but I do want to show you this. So we did not overcook the apples at all. I can easily handle them. And do they smell delicious with that infused fireball whiskey in them? And so we're going to put these apples evenly down on the tray. out of all the different cobblers, apple cobbler is my favorite. And I love cinnamon, so this is just making it taste extra delicious. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't have like piles of apples because they're not going to cook up right. So you have to spread it along here. And as I said earlier, I preheated my oven to 375, and this is a 10 by 15 baking dish. Okay. Just have to go ahead and make sure every bite has a nice piece of apple in it. Okay, so I got a good covering. I have a few more, so I'm just going to kind of put those in the spots that don't look as, like here's this nice spot for a piece of apple. Now, I also want to mention that anybody can eat this apple cobbler because, I mean, as long as you don't have allergies, of course, but I'm referring to the alcohol. So the alcohol is going to cook off, so you don't have to worry about that. But it does make the flavor more unique, that is for sure. Okay, we have a few more, and then I'm going to take some of that juice. That's what I want to show everybody. I'm going to take some of that juice and put it on here. Okay, so in this, I'm not going to probably use all of it. I might. Okay, so in this is the Fireball whiskey, the brown sugar, and the added cinnamon. I'm just kind of pouring it over, and that will be making it even taste more delicious. So I'm wanting to make sure that I evenly distribute this, and I've almost used all of it up. I want to make sure that I have a little bit over each spot. Smells so good. Okay, there's just like one more drop left. Okay, so we used it. Everything is empty. It smells delicious. Can't wait to try this, that's for sure. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of stir up the batter just a little bit more, and we're going to pour it over the top. I'm just going to set my rubber spatula aside because I probably will need it to go ahead and scrape the sides a little. So I have it in hand's reach. So now I'm going to kind of go from the top, and you just start pouring this batter over your apple mix, and the Fireball whiskey, and everything, and all the extra cinnamon and brown sugar. I'm excited about trying this because it already smells so wonderful. Okay, time for the rubber spatula. So we're going to make sure that we get each spot. Just scrape it. So if I see a spot that doesn't have batter, that's where this batter is going. Scrape the sides. Okay, we are getting close. Okay, so we're done with the batter. I'm going to wash my hands. Put some brown sugar into a bowl. I think it might be a little bit easier. And I'm just going to sprinkle it around, and I'm going to leave some of it purposely in chunks. So some will have a bigger chunk, some will have a smaller chunk. And because what it does is it will give the topping a unique texture. And I remember I left the skin on the apples not only for the flavor but for the texture. So when you're doing dessert, sometimes texture means a lot. And so as you can see, there's sprinkles of brown sugar and chunks of brown sugar. And each time you do this, it's going to look slightly different because there's no guarantee on how the chunks are going to come out. I might need to put a little bit more in this bowl. We'll see. And then it kind of melts and it's kind of like caramelizes. And you'll see that after we cook it. Okay. Need to just grab a little bit more out. Put it in here. Kind of putting it in here because I can kind of mix it up a little. You can see like that one's already melting. Okay. Just a little bit right here. Just make sure you get all your spots. That's the important part. All right, so we are going to put this in the oven again at 375. I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes just to check on it, and we'll take a peek at it, but it's going to take 30 to 40 minutes to cook. So we'll check back soon. Okay, so it's coming along. It's not ready yet, but it's looking really good and smells delicious. So let's check this out. As you can see, it's like boiling down there. Let's pull it out for a sec. And it definitely looks like it's done. So we will pull it, set it on the counter, and wait to do the taste test. Okay, so I have the cobbler cooling down on a cooling rack, not directly on my counter because it'd probably crack it because it's very hot. And the hardest part now is to wait till it cools down enough so I don't burn my tongue. And I'm going to probably have it taste test it warm. That's what sounds really good to me, but I don't want to burn my tongue, so we got to wait now. All right, so it's time for the taste test, but I just wanted to show you this. I wish you could smell it. It smells absolutely delicious, and that Fireball whiskey gave it such a cinnamon aroma. It's just unbelievable. I just can't wait to taste it. All right, it's time for the taste test, but I again want to say I made this unique recipe that I invented myself to celebrate me getting 1,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel, which I'm very excited about. And I hope that everybody goes ahead and tells their friend about my channel, and I hope they subscribe too. This is video 148, so be sure to go back and check out some of my other videos. Some of them are main courses, side dishes, but my favorite's dessert, and a couple other quirky little videos that are fun to watch. So, time for the taste test. And look at that. Smells wonderful. Absolutely delicious. That Fireball whiskey gives the cinnamon a whole other flavor. It's just like infused everywhere. Wonderful. Very refreshing and cinnamony flavor. And the apples taste delicious, and they're done just right. And as I had said before, the texture on the top, let me get some of that brown sugar. Absolutely delicious. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. And if you don't, I hope that you do. Please like and share this video with a friend. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.